Can Trevor Story be a league-winning stash? Who will be the next top prospect called up that could be a difference maker for your fantasy team? Join us today where we provide you with the best players to stash on your watch list NIL on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You could find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, is my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you could find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel, also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, subscribe to us on the Subtext website. On Subtext, it's an in-depth, personalized, one-on-one experience through text messaging. You get instant alerts with prospect call-ups, injuries, and just a lot more than we can offer on this 30-minute podcast. Guys, real quick, this episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper picks, and you can win up to 100 times your money back. Download the Sleeper app and use the promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Try Sleeper today. Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. As always, let us be your team secret weapon as we provide you with the best players to stash heading into the weekend. And Matt, who do we got up first, brother?
We got Mr. Trevor Story. Trevor Story coming back from that injury. Man, oh man, it's been a long wait. I really figured he would have been back not too long after the All-Star break. Now we're going on about 2 weeks. Still not back, so I'm just waiting and hoping that, the first week of August is that timeline. We should hear more soon. Trevor Story has a lot of upside, being that he has second base eligibility for that Boston team last year. Before he got hurt, he was batting, in the batting average category, quite putrid, but he did have phenomenal counting stats. He had 53 runs, he had 22 doubles, 16 bombs, 66 ribs, 13 stolen bases, batting terrible 238. But I mean, hey, that's kind of like uncharacteristic for him, honestly. I think that was that first year, new team type deal, because that was his first season with Boston. And honestly, every year but 2021, where even he still had a 251 batting average, the guy's been like pretty solid, a 289, a 294, a 291. 17, he had a bad year, but I mean, it is what it is. And then, 16, like I foresee him hitting about 260, 265 once he starts getting rolling. But that's just a matter of how, if that even happens at all. Sorry for the screaming kid in the background. But, it's bedtime. She wants milk. It just ain't happening. But anyway, Trevor Story, I think, is a must add right now, and at least a stash, because my guy could come in, could give you that boost, and could be somebody that just is a second half monster for you once he gets to moving and grooving. So definitely add Trevor Story.
Yeah, Matt, just an update from today. Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox, came out and he said that he's not ruling out a return for Trevor Story this weekend. So this is your really last chance to add Trevor Story right now if he's available in any of your leagues. I think it's a must-add situation, as Matt said. I don't know if I'm as bullish on the batting average as Matt is, because even his last year in chorus, he dropped down to a 251 batting average. He's a career 268 guy. I wouldn't put it past him for more than 240, 250 batting average, but the power is real. The speed is real. That Boston team isn't horrible. They got a decent lineup there, and if Story hits in the middle of that lineup, a lot of RBI, a lot of run potential. So potentially a 4-category guy. But you know what? If Matt's right and he can hit up to like 260, 265, he'll be 4.5, almost 5-category type contributor for Trevor Story. He is working his way back from that, surgery on his UCL. He's looking good in his minor league rehab assignment last He's already played 3 of those, 2 for 8 with a home run. So you know what? Trevor Story at 46% owned on Yahoo, looking like a must-add at the moment. Let's keep things pushing, though, and let's move on to a pitcher who's also almost ready to return. That's Hyun Jin-Ryu of the Toronto Blue Jays. So now Ryu, it looks like he isn't expected to be activated for the weekend series against the Angels, but next week they go over to Baltimore. Might be a little bit tough, spot for him to make his debut, but we'll kind of see where things go. Ryu isn't really, a blow you away type of pitcher. He's just kind of been consistently decent throughout his career. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as a must add, but you know what? There haven't been a lot of pitchers on the waiver wire that I've been digging on. Ryu throughout his career, 3.27 ERA, over 1,000 innings, 896 strikeouts, and a career 1.17 WHIP. So as I mentioned, he's just been pretty serviceable. Although the last 2 seasons, a 5.67 ERA, a 4.37 ERA. So the ERA has kind of been elevating as he's been getting older. This year, going to be 36 years old. So 18% owned, those deeper leagues, stuff like that. Give Ryu the shot. Probably not one of my favorite guys we're talking about on this episode, but definitely somebody at least minimum put on your watch list and see what happens.
I like Ryu. I think that he's at least worth an ad because, if he can get back to a couple years ago where, the hype started, I think that could be really the case. But let's see what happens. Let's just stash him, see what happens on the first 2 starts. And then if he doesn't hit, you drop him. It is what it is. It's all about trying to catch somebody, off guard and trying to stash these guys ahead of time before somebody else has time to scoop them up and be able to, have that one leg up on somebody if you get them early. But let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Royce Lewis. Somebody that I was excited when they got the call. I almost want to call him Royce Glue Glass because, he's becoming a flanges guy. It's really pissing me off because the kid has all the upside in the world. He was having a really nice season until he got hurt. Quite honestly, he was batting about 326 this year, which is phenomenal. Right, I'm on the right page. Yep, I am. I just didn't realize how good he was doing. He's batting 326 on the year. He had 4 bombs, 15 ribs, a stolen base, threw 95 at bats. The kid was really looking rocking and rolling, picking up right where he left off before he tore his ACL for the second time. So I'm just hoping that Royce Lewis can come back from this oblique injury in mid-August and really just pick up where he left off again. And hopefully is able to ride it out to the end of the season and really see where this journey can take us with Royce Lewis. The upside is phenomenal. I don't know if anybody's really familiar with him. If you're new to us, let me just refresh your memory real quick. Let's go back to when he was in the minors. In 2019, the kid had 22 stolen bases. He had 49 RBIs, 12 home runs, 26 doubles, 4 triples, 73 runs, and 517 at-bats. Batting average wasn't great, but the year before that, he really rocked and rolled at 483 at-bats, batting 292. He had in that season 28 stolen bases and 14 bombs. It looks like he's been able to build off that before the first, obviously ACL tear. Coming back, it looks like he's about to hit that second level here. And if he could just stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit at 6'2", 200 pounds, Royce Lewis. I feel like I just announced the boxer here. But Royce Lewis really should be rock and rolling, should be added in all leagues and stashed.
Yeah, guys, and before I hop back in and give my Royce Lewis take, we talk about Arizona Diamondbacks catcher that recently hit the IL, and a young ace pitcher that we haven't spoken about in a while, and we talk about potentially some of the next top prospects that can come up and help your fantasy baseball team and ours. I need to talk to you guys about Sleeper. Sleeper is a fantasy sports and a real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 5 million active users in 2022. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper Picks is our real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick higher or lower than predicted stats. Only on Sleeper, you can get up to 100 times payout. Share with your friends and get rewarded together. Use the promo code LOCKEDON and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. And dear everydayers and new listeners, we have an incredible opportunity for you to support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks along the way. Introducing the Diamond Club on on Subtext's website. Call-up alerts, injury updates, instant reactions, and enjoy direct access to us for all of your burning fantasy questions. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the world to Matt and I, and we can't wait to connect with you on this exciting journey. Join the Diamond Club on the Subtext website today, and let's take your fantasy baseball experience to new heights. And also, as we've been mentioning, if you sign up before the end of August, or if you've already signed up, you get that exclusive chance to be one of the first entries into our listener league next year. Come on out and show Matt and I what you got as far as fantasy baseball goes. Come on and take on the pros. All right, let me hop back in here and let me give my quick little take on Royce Lewis because, Matt, you did a fantastic job there. Royce Lewis, formerly one of the top prospects in all of baseball, got a little bit of power, more known for his speed. Batting average is definitely going to be a plus for him. But as Matt mentioned, the phalanges guy, that oblique issue is going to keep him out till mid-August. 30% owned on Royce Lewis, definitely worth the stash if you have an open IL spot. But, Matt, you did a great job covering him, so I don't really have too much more to add there. Let's move on to our next guy, and it's somebody that just hit the IL. It's Gabriel Moreno. Moreno's just been super serviceable this year. I don't think this year is the breakout for him, but you know what? On the year, the numbers look pretty solid with 17 runs, 3 homers, 28 RBIs, 4 steals, and a 270 batting average. With Moreno, he's got that shoulder inflammation. They don't really have a great timeline for when he's coming back. But you know what? I think it's worth a stash, especially in those 2 catcher leagues. Moreno's only 13% rostered on Yahoo. So you still have the chance to, go out there and stash him. I think Moreno's somebody we're going to be talking about a lot coming into next year with that young Diamondbacks team really flourishing, growing together. And Moreno's been very, very good in the minors. I think that batting average is going to creep up. I think he's going to be over a 300, hitter, or at least 290, very close to it. Power, something he's got to come into a little bit. He's got good speed. So, kind of let's just see where this thing goes with Moreno. I think he's more of a 2, catcher type of league, deep 15-man, something like that. Throw him on your IL if you got the spot. If anything, throw him on the watch list. See when he gets, back from injury, and then you could maybe be a sneaky ad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Gabriel Moreno is just a little frustrating in terms of the counting stats. But, I mean, batting average off the waiver wire is key, especially when you get it from your catcher. Great take, Dom. Let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Mason Miller. Coming off the injury himself on the IL. He's got that elbow injury and, throwing from flat ground. So hopefully he starts getting some minor league rehab starts soon. Got the call this year, was pretty good through 21 innings pitched. He had 22 strikeouts. He had a 3.38 ERA and a sub-1 whip, like right under it. I think he's, a decent stash for now. See what happens. Before he got the call this year, he had a 2.08 ERA on the season. I mean, the kid could be good. I just don't know how long or what it's going to be. He does have the protection of pitching in the A's ballpark with the A's system. And they know how to just rip out good pitchers and then trade them and then they become nothing. So I kind of want to roll out and see what Mason Miller can do while he's still on the Oakland A's. If he doesn't get, if he gets the call back up into that rotation once he returns from the IL.
Yeah, man, Mason Miller, I was so sad to see him go down. The kid throws absolute gas, gets up over 100 miles an hour. Breaking stuff is all right. Needs a little work in that department. But the kid's 24 years old, still fairly young, getting a little bit older. But I really think that this kid, we're going to hear about him next year when he's healthy, because this year I'm not sure where things are going to go with him. Definitely a watch list guy for right now. I'm not really adding him at the moment unless you got like a limited IL spots or like a deep IL. Because they haven't really said, when they're looking to get him back. And with Oakland not being in contention, why waste the bullets on the young, 24-year-old? But, another guy next year, I think somebody we're going to be talking about a lot coming into the year, going to be a great sleeper pick, going to be a great late-round starting pitcher option as far as I'm concerned anyway. But for now, throw Mason Miller on your watch list. And if he does, you get the, come back up this year and pitch some more innings at 6'5", 200 pounds. I think Mason Miller can be a difference maker. So let's move on. Let's go from, guys that you can really stash on your IL to some of these young prospects, up-and-coming guys. There isn't really like a crazy amount of them left down there, but let's talk about the ones that are. Let's talk about Colt Keith. This guy has been jumping up like prospect boards like crazy recently because he's just having a monster year. The 6'2", 211-pound, bats lefty too. This kid just looks like the real deal Holyfield. He got moved up to AAA recently, and he's still doing pretty solid down there in AAA. 17 games in AAA, 62 at bats, 8 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 11 RBIs, a steal, 8 walks to 14 strikeouts, a 274 batting average. Looks pretty solid. But if you combine those numbers with the AA numbers, looks even better. 76 games on the whole in the minors for Colt Keith. 308 at-bats, 51 runs, 20 doubles, 2 triples, 16 homers, 61 RBIs, 3 steals with a 315 batting average. The kid's always been a contributor in batting average. He's got pop. He's got a little bit of speed. I think Colt Keith is definitely somebody that we need to keep, our eyes on, because the kid could get the call here in August and really be a contributor with, Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green, playing a lot better for Detroit. He could join the company and get in the party. He's only 4% owned, but throw him on your watch list for now. Kind of see where things go.
Yeah, for sure. Great take, Dom. I don't think I need to do anything with that. I'm just going to move on. I can't say anything better than that. So let's go. So
Gotcha.
Mr. Matt Mervis, disappointment this year when he got the call earlier in the year. Unfortunately, he had 90 at bats, which is, a nice little chunk of change in the bigs. I only managed to have 8 runs, 2 doubles, 3 bombs, 11 ribs, 8 walks at 32 strikeouts, batting 167. Like, that's just not him, because honestly, in the minors over the last 2 years, he was batting 292 now, presently, batting 309 in 2022. So, the kid can hit for average, and looks like he's corrected whatever it is, especially this year in the minors. 38 walks to 41 strikeouts. That's great numbers that I want to see. He must have made some corrections on himself, and the kid's got pop. I don't know if anybody's really familiar with him. In 2022, he had 36 home runs in the minors with batting 309 and 119 ribs, 92 runs through 512 at bats. This kid has some serious power upside. Like, if he hits in the bigs, he could be the next, oh God, all right, I'm going to do this. A Cubs prospect, somebody that could really be up there. He could have the upside of Chris Bryant in his prime. Legitimately, they're the same kind of player, hitting for average, hitting for power, gets on base. Matt Mervis could be the complete package for a Cubs prospect. But at the same time, I don't know if he's going to hit right when he gets the call. He already showed that he isn't going to hit again. So I hit already. So it may take him 2-3 years, and he's not going to be as electric and as well groomed as Bryant when he first hit the league. So upside could be him, but it may take him time, prospects like Wander Franco and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, Matt, great take on Matt Mervis there. I don't really have too much to add. I'm just going to say this. I think he might get the call sooner than later. I think the Cubs are going to be sellers at the trade deadline here. We might see a couple Cubs move off the team. They're going to have some open spots. And Matt read you off the stats. He read you off the profile. Matt Mervis, big dude, a lot of power. I think when he finally figures out big league pitching, the league is going to be in trouble. I have faith in Matt Mervis. But Matt, good take. I'm just going to keep things pushing here. I'm going to move on to Ceddane Rafaela of the Boston Red Sox. Another kid that's just been, moving up board slowly but surely because, just having a great year. We go from Matt Mervis, the big 6'2", 225 boy, to Rafaela. That's 5'9", 165. So he may not have the pop that Matt Mervis does, but you know what? He does a lot of other things very well, including stealing those bases. Because on the year, Ceddane Rafaela has 79 games played, 327 at-bats, 54 runs, 24 doubles, 2 triples, 12 homers, 55 RBIs, 31 steals. Kid's got some speed to him. Doesn't really walk, kind of makes me nervous. 16 walks to 76 strikeouts, so may not be much of a points league guy, but he's batting .297. He's a career .277 hitter over his minor league career. So, and like again, we mentioned earlier, that Boston team is not bad. They get Story back. Ceddane Rafaela gets the call. That lineup could look even deadlier. But you know what? I think Ceddane Rafaela is a guy, if you need a little batting average, you need a little speed, he's somebody that you're going to want to keep your eyes on.
Yeah, no, I like Rafaela a lot, honestly. But let's see when he gets that call, because he could translate really nicely. But before we move on, and we have our two last guys here, one Dodger prospect and one, of course, can't leave the show without talking about a Baltimore prospect
every week.
every week. So stay tuned for these last two guys. All right, guys, and we're back. So with that being said, let's talk about Mr. Michael Busch, Dodger prospect, second base. Love his upside. He was one of my favorite guys coming to this year. Got the call for a quick cup of coffee this year for 45 at bats. Got sent down not too long ago. He had in that time 6 runs, 3 doubles, no bombs yet, 4 ribs, a stolen base, batting about 200. So I can understand why the Dodgers sent him down. They could have even just showcased him for a trade. I think he could be one of the guys that could be included in like a big name trade. Like, for instance, I think if the Dodgers do acquire Ohtani, this Michael Busch is going to be included in that trade for sure. And then he'll have some instant playing time. I mean, I think he could be really good there if he did go to the Angels. And since he's been in the minors and sent back down, he's really rocking and rolling at 253 at bats, 53 runs, 17 doubles, 3 triples, 15 bombs, 59 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting a whopping 308. Like, I love the kid's upside. Last year, he had 32 bombs in the minors, threw 552 at bats, batted 274. I don't think he's a 300 hitter whatsoever. I think he's at 265, 260 on a good year, 270 hitter. But I think he has a whole bunch of upside, and he's not your prototypical second baseman. He's more of like a Brandon Lowe, where he has more power than anything else. So, we shall see where the world takes him at 6'1", 210 pounds. And quite honestly, I think if he goes to any other team, or even if he stays with the Dodgers, he's going to end up being an outfielder. I don't foresee him staying at second base. That's Michael Busch. You have no mic, my friend. So
yeah, my fault. I'm back. That was on me. Great take on Busch. The thing is, like, you literally took the words out of my mouth. I don't want to just repeat you, but yeah, the thing is with Busch, I don't think he's gonna really get much burn with the Dodgers if he stays there, especially they just acquired Kike Hernandez. So, it's another guy that's going to be in his way in that middle infield. So, I think Busch gets moved in a trade here with the Dodgers. I think they go after somebody big. If he winds up on the Angels, like Matt said, gets that playing time, another, mediocre team, if the Dodgers make that deal, that's when we're going to look towards Michael Busch. So Michael Busch, just watch list for now. Let's see where things go with him. So let's move on to our last guy. Let's talk about another Baltimore Orioles prospect. And we could just roll the dice every week and just come up with another one. But let's talk about one we haven't talked about in at least a little while. I know we talked about it once or twice. Coby Mayo, third base, has played a little bit of first in the past as well. So, he's got a few different positions here. Another young 21-year-old guy, dominating in the minors so far this year with 87 games played, 319 at-bats, 52 runs, 32 doubles. Man, that's a lot of doubles. That's a lot of hitting the ball hard and, putting it where the guys aren't. You like to see that, especially with the shift being implemented here. Coby Mayo knows how to get it around them. 2 triples, 18 homers, 55 RBIs, 4 steals, 54 walks to 99 strikeouts, which isn't atrocious, and a 298 batting average, kind of redeeming himself after a little bit of a down year last year. Mayo says, that's not who I am. I'm a great young player. Going to add to that, Baltimore, list there. And the thing is, man, just, I think they're slowly and surely going to get all of these guys up, at least by the end of the year. Maybe some guys only come up in September to help that playoff push. But I think we're going to see most of these young Orioles players before the year ends. And the thing is, though, same as we said with the Dodgers, the Orioles could go out there and make a trade. Maybe some of these guys move, which would be interesting to see. But you know what? All of these guys are great, including Coby Mayo. Throw him on your watch list for now and see where things go with the kid.
Yeah, my thing with Mayo is since he's been moved to AAA, he hasn't really been performing. He has a 219 batting average.
True.
It's only 36 at bats, 32 at bats. So I mean, I want to see what the kid can do in 90. But right now, if I'm looking at it today, I don't foresee him being called up in the next couple weeks. He's more of a watch list guy, in my opinion. But the upside is there, like Dom talked about with the doubles and everything else. And I'm not going to repeat anything from his great take. But I will say this, I wouldn't be surprised if he does manage to stay with Baltimore and he isn't traded. I don't foresee him getting called up unless he just somehow snaps out of it and becomes absolutely elite and completely adjusts to the AAA pitching. So other than that, guys, I want to thank you for today's episode, and don't forget to sign up for Subtext so you can get your shot at the listener league. So with that being said, Dom, take it away.
Yeah, guys, just a quick shout out. We got a little extra time here. Our everydayers and new listeners, we appreciate you guys. We wouldn't be where we are, without you guys today. And, you all mean a lot to us. It's truly appreciated. So keep staying locked on, and we're going to do our best to get you those everydayers championship. If you got any deep burning questions that you need to have answered, the best place to get to us is on Subtext. Since we got Subtext now, that's really the place to get to us. On Instagram and other spots, we may not be able to respond as quick because we want to make sure we're on top of our, Subtext subscribers. So check it out. Just give it, even just give it the 14 days and see how you feel about us. Hopefully we can, make you stay there with us. But other than that, guys, that's going to be all for us today. So please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, look out for a new episode tomorrow where we're going to be talking about the best players to add heading into the weekend. But guys, until then, see you.
Peace.